A and S. I imagine young Bernadette Stewart, silver slippers clicking together in front of her family's new Zenith Color TV, watching The Wiz for the first time. Her face is mirrored in the TV screen's glass by Diana Ross as Dorothy, singing Home. A military kid, I imagine Bernadette looking for home everywhere she goes and learning, early on, that we must look inside our hearts to find a world of love like yours, like mine, like home. Bernadette wears her commitment to connection and vulnerability on her sleeve right next to her heart, and it is this empathy that makes her a fierce advocate for all that's important to her: equity, access, family, community, and finding the fun.
Bowing to Bernadette.
That was a great image.
Oh, God. This is even... Seriously? Can I look away? What should I do?
Like
okay.
we're talking to me.
You don't have to do anything, just look naturally.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to
your
talk.
hands in your pocket
This
and
is
talk
so
to me.
weird. Oh my God.
I can't imagine what it's like inside Bernadette's mind, navigating her binge list of music, true crime, and British TV shows, serving on community leadership boards, guiding staff through personnel cases at the University of Colorado Boulder, and holding her deep concern for the humans of her life. As you will hear in today's episode, her mind relentlessly merges and connects these facets of her being, the values that are her North Star. I am a total fangirl for this campus leader, an assistant dean of people, engagement, and culture, and I can't imagine Bernadette anywhere but on the front lines of reciprocity and authenticity, ready to do battle for the structures, relationships, and people she cares for.
And it's ridiculous.
On the ampersand, we call this bringing together of the impossible the alchemy of anding. Together, we'll hear stories of humans who imagine and create by colliding their interests. Rather than thinking of and as a simple conjunction in that conjunction-junction kind of way, we will hear stories of people who see and as a verb, a way to speak the beautiful when you intentionally let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. As St. Mary Oliver asks, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Oh, I love this question. When I'm mothering, creating, and collaborating, it reminds me to replace a singular idea of what I think I should become with a full sensory verb about experiencing. I'm Erika Randall, and this is Bernadette Stewart on the ampersand.
Well, I think, it's interesting. I think you're going a little bit to sort of how I grew up and, sort of how I was formed. And what I'll say is I have a family. I'm biracial. I'm Black and Mexican, and I didn't really fit in. I grew up in the 80s, and not my favorite decade. So neon, big hair.
90s is your favorite.
So yeah, I just didn't fit in. I'm a military brat, so I moved around a lot, and trying to find connection and sort of, just a place was challenging. Although I have to say, I do think that it made me adaptable, and so that's part of it, is that being able to see different people, be in different environments, searching for a connection, and making sure that I show up authentically, so that in the hope that someone else will want to connect. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, with an invitation.
Yeah. I think that's maybe the baseline.
This morning I was listening to the playlist that you shared.
That's just a short one.
I know, because you're all about the playlist. We're going to bookmark music. But the one that I was really thinking about, I was imagining you in the 80s, watching The Wiz for maybe the first time. And I have major Wiz connections. My first serious ballet teacher was an Ozite in The Wiz, China White. She was a dancer in the Harlem Ballet, got to be in The Wiz. I remember when we could get the VHS tape and pausing to see her in the moment. Do you love the song Home, but do you love The Wiz also?
Well, so my family has always been really intentional about showing up and witnessing things that have Black people in them. So it was more like it was very important for us to watch it and be a part of it versus how it actually really landed. So I think that I have a sort of voyeuristic sense of The Wiz.
Yeah. The song Home.
The song Home, like I will cry every time I hear it. But only if Diana Ross is singing.
Diana Ross, not the Whitney version.
That's right.
Okay, that's what I wondered. Diana Ross, forever. And when you talk about being a military brat and not having one home base, do you think that resonates even more? This idea that home is in the people, it's in you, it's in me, it's in home, that we bring that home with us, or we're looking for it in each other? Like, is it the lyrics that get you, or is it just the way Diana's like sobbing and singing like a badass?
You know, I think it's all.
Yeah.
It's all of those. And I will say, yes, it is in the people. For me, everything is about people. I have a younger brother, so I have a smaller family. And again, we were very tight, you know, my dad, mom, and brother. And so it's not that I didn't feel a sense of home, but I've always really I love people's messiness. Yeah. I love big.
Even basement messiness?
Oh, well, so I've said a lot about my family being a lot to you all. They are, but I also think that they're the most extraordinary, people to watch. And
because of their mess.
Yes, because it's humanity, right? Yes. And so I always thought that I wanted a big family myself. My mom and my dad have giant families, so I have a lot of cousins, things like that. And so friends are family. Friends, you can choose family members, right? And so, yes, I think that creating home wherever I am, work, play, home is just the way that makes me happy.
When you said, I like the messiness, you said earlier, I like systems because it can be clean. Mm-hmm. So do you like the messy to clean it, or do you like to clean something and then mess it up with the humanity, or do you see that this is a paradox that just exists and that is humanity, or the struggle against nature of humans to try to make clean the mess?
I like the messy to make clean. Mm-hmm. And your question is really making me think about, like, I always have understood that part of my sort of stress management is cleaning. Is making sense and organizing, and realizing and recognizing, like, almost immediately it gets messy again. So it's like this process that never stops. Yeah. And I think that I guess I never realized that that's the way that it is, and that's maybe a beautiful thing. Yes. It's the thing that's sort of constant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And there's this notion in care that comes up when we're looking to also care and repair, it's just this dance that's constantly happening. And if you can feel it in your human life, and then you can bring it into your work life, is it also then hard sometimes when we call work home? Like I've run into that in my own, where I think, I'll be like, well, in this house, and then we treat each other like family, but that means we're going to fight. Mm-hmm. But that also means, what do I do when I need it to be personnel, not personal? Like, how do you navigate that? I struggle with that, because there's sometimes where I'm so eager to find family in the people I work with, because we're with each other all the time. And I call where I work the house. But then sometimes maybe not. Maybe it's not. And do you have a feeling about that? Help me.
Yeah, the way that I think about it is, especially in our diversity, equity, inclusion work, when you're building home in your family or in your friends or at work, the foundation of that is trust, right? And so it can't, in my opinion, cannot happen if you don't have trust. So you might want home to be a version of home or house to be at work, but if the other folks in that mix are not aligned, then I think that's the rub and the struggle.
It doesn't have to imply intimacy, but in order to get at the hard things, right. Trust, ground floor.
Right, ground floor. I do think that if you have to fight at work, it's not personal. It's actually, we understand what positionality, each individual that trust each other. And the word that comes up for me a lot in my work is, or in the way that I think about the way I show up, is reciprocity. So I expect it, but I think that we don't do it, like, I don't think it's given.
Yeah.
And so we can show up at trusting the process, the people, but there's always the other side of it.
Yeah, and we can't control that side, but we can keep showing up. That's right. And showing up. When you meet someone, you show up not just by sharing who you are, but you start taking notes about them somehow, somewhere. I don't know what your method is, but there's a thing, like, I'll get squishy, but my mom died last month, and you gave me flowers this week, because that's when people forget, and that's when you remembered.
Well,
That's just like, you can say, well, but that's something. That's care. That's tending to things when other people maybe aren't looking. And it's amazing. It's an amazing thing about you.
I don't know what to say about that. Other than I will say I wasn't thoughtful in terms of the timing. What it was I was thinking about you. So the universe was maybe tending to the timing.
But you acted on the thought. And so that's a thing that I see in you that is so extraordinary and tender. And then it's like, how do you hold that? And what does that look like for yourself? Mm-hmm. How do you tend to yourself with that kind of care? You have been in Boulder as a Black woman for a lot of years. You, like I said, you loom large in a room. You bring the care and the ferocity. How do you tend to yourself? How do you listen to those things like, Bernadette needs some gladiolas today? Mm-hmm. What do you? I hope you do.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, we can get into a lot of if you want, my addictions with entertainment. Yeah. I'm not well, maybe I am a social media, like a shopper, but no, not like that, but like TV and music. And
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have a lot. It's that. So that's maybe how I'm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have a cue.
My self-care cue.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start by saying, again, I constantly come back to, when I think about things, when I'm reflecting, come back to the way that I was raised. So my dad's Black. He was an enlisted soldier, not an officer. That's really important. So Black man, when he enlisted, no other options. And so, like, I learned...
Was that in the 70s? Or?
That would be in the 60s.
So he had one choice, one box that you could...
That's right. Wow. That's right. He enlisted, and he was a master... when he retired, was a master sergeant. He's no longer here. He passed away way too young because he was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. It was probably stemming from doing a couple tours in Vietnam. Yeah. That story, basically. But he always taught us that we deserve dignity. We're not, like, we are equal, every one of us, right? So I think, to answer your question, that's where it starts. Everyone deserves dignity. I do. And I will assume that I will get it, period. And if I don't, that's your problem, not mine. And every day, that's how I show up. So that's how it starts, like me being here for a really long time, right? I will say that I also recognize that I have privilege. And I say words in our job all the time, like perspective. Yes. Right. And so it's about recognizing that we all have some privilege in a room.
And reconciling that in ourselves.
That's right. That's right. And being brave and using that privilege to help lift or clear a path for someone that has less. And so the other thing is, I'm just confident in my intentions always, because of my North Stars, because of my values. And lastly, like, I just recognize, I think this has come with age for sure, that I recognize my unique intersections. And as I was sort of preparing for this conversation, I was thinking, those are my ands.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah, it's not just the majors and minors you had. It's
right. Intersections are ands.
Yes, because they create connection.
That's right. Yeah. That they are my superpower. Yes. And worth considering. So I have to share and show up.
You show up. You do. And it's something that is not innate in folks, even folks who have such strong values. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, or you can show up in an anger space, right? Mm-hmm. Like you could have taken everything that you saw your dad have to face and go, well, this demonstrates how nothing is fair, and I'm going to bring the fury in a way that doesn't support the change that you do. And so there's something magic in it, and there is something that I can only imagine spurs your kids to want to be the way you saw your dad. How do they see you? Because it could be really, you're not a wartime hero in the same way, but we're in a battle when it comes to equity and when it comes to race in this country. And you're battling on the front that you've chosen. Do they see that front? Do they respect it the way you can look at your dad's is so magnanimous and be like, my mom is a badass and she is like fighting the fight?
They do. And they kind of can't believe what I have to do
in a day.
In volume, but also like in one instance, they can't comprehend it. So they know I'm not. And so what they do is they say this all the time. My son I just dropped him off. He said, when can I hear the podcast?
They're fans. So you share with them. You share case studies about the things that you're working on as we talk about case studies a lot. Yeah. And the beauty of a case study in people being like, well, it's not gonna. It's like, no, it is. It's actually happening like this. This is what is on the table. This is what's in the room. And this is what was said. Do you share those with them? And that helps them see you and see the equity work that you're doing?
I think it probably. So yes, I definitely share with them. And I'll go home and I'll say every day, they're like, how is work? And I say, how is school? And we share. So I will say, oh, I have one for you. I was working with this adult who blah, 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 blah. And this was the response from the other adult, blah, blah, blah. And what do you think about that? And they will shake their head. Like they don't understand the conflict. They don't understand how small we become. Yeah. And so I do without name, right? They don't care about the names. They don't know the names. They know I'm a fixer and they know I'm a fighter. And so they don't. In fact,
because they know you're going to go if they bring it.
That's right.
Yeah. So especially with names.
Absolutely. And so what I would say is, I say this all the time because it gives people like kind of a quick snapshot is I am an Aries. I'm not like this person that's ruled by sort of that discipline, but I do think I fit that archetype pretty well.
I love Aries. I married one.
They're rough, right?
They bring a weapon to the party.
So my kids know about me that I do not play games when my values are threatened or their values are threatened. So for example, I've said to them since they were little, I do get to know who your friends are and I will veto them. You do not get to be around people who do not reciprocate your love, loyalty. You are worth.
Yes.
It's like, that's how unequivocal I am. Yeah. Is that the right word?
Yeah. I can't spell it, but it is.
Okay. I appreciate you.
I can't publicly spell it, especially.
I can't type it.
I can't type it in a room full of people watching.
So I think that's
a beautiful way to say it too. Not like that kid's bad. He's going to corrupt. It's like, no, that's a labeling that's going to cause them to fight back. But to talk about reciprocity.
That's right. It's just about they have to be treated well because they deserve it. So, sorry, I kind of lost track of the question you asked me, but they do think that I am more important than I am at work. They're absolutely in awe of what I do, but it's partially because they don't understand it. And it's hilarious. And so the way I wind them up is I kind of like, and I constantly talk to them about it. And then I also say, so I said it the other day, make sure you do something that you love because that's the only way you can last when it gets hard. That's it.
That is, it is the best advice. And it's when we think about students who are trying to please parents with majors or humans who are trying to please society with choice and they're outside of what is. You've also said to me, you hate the word, like, oh, you're passionate. It's like, no, talk to me about why we hate this word as a often, well, I see it as a cover for doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. But can you talk to me about passion how it can be used against you? Passion
for me seems fleeting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is for me. It's not, because I actually am inspired by people being passionate about the things that they're doing. But that's because I can see depth, and it's not fleeting. Yeah. I think what is really important and big and maybe gets to is purpose. Yeah. Like, what were you put here to do?
Yeah.
I think
from a higher power space?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I do, yeah, absolutely.
And that purpose has action embedded in it, which can feel different than passion.
Right. Mm-hmm. And maybe also, I mean, you're making me think of this, so this is just off the cuff. Passion perhaps feels selfish, and purpose feels generative and for others.
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of like who I am at my center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a wall in your house that has a sign that has your values painted on it?
No, I hate those houses.
I couldn't imagine that you did. Do you have them tattooed?
No tattoos.
No tattoos. Do you just have them do they change for you, or are they a mantra? Are they anywhere that they're fixed? Like, you've said these great words, it makes me think, like, what would my words be? Mm-hmm. And your words are really specific. So it feels like they've been materialized on a sign, on a tattoo, and a poem, and a post-it in your drawer. They just live.
They just live.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I just said to you, from a higher power, because I think what happens for me is literally, like, whatever I'm living, I will see it visually. Mm-hmm. And it just so reciprocity was one of those that was just just coming through. It's almost like, what are those mediums?
Yeah.
Like, it's words.
Yeah. You do get it. Like, when I talk about metabolizing things, you're like, that verb, you loving that.
I used that word yesterday.
You did yesterday?
Yes. I'm on a board in Boulder. It's called Growing Up Boulder. And we were doing a few-hour retreat to create our mission, vision, and values. This group has been around for 13 years, but it's retooling. And anyway, I used your word because part of the conversation was, how do we use more organic terms that embody? I used embody as well, and I shouted you out.
Well, you don't have to.
So no, but I
it's just dancers,
right?
Yeah. Well, there's the thing.
It's not just dancers. Dancers are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It matters. The words matter, and how we think about where we remove the body is so dicey, and yet when we bring the body into conversation in the ways that it has been before, then it sets it up to be objectified and killed and harmed. And so how do we bring this idea of a body with the sensitivity and care of reciprocity?
Yeah. So the words just, I can see them.
Do you write as part of your practice?
So I don't write in terms of journaling. I'm really terrible at that, actually. I have gone through some hard sort of times in my life. I find not hard times like traditional hard times, meaning I'm searching. Mm-hmm. I can't fix it. I can't figure out, like, what's the next step. Those are hard times for me because I feel like I'm pretty clear a lot. Yeah. So it's really just, so I don't want to make it sound more dramatic than it is. But so then I will be intentional about writing just to get it, to see if I can glean anything. I use writing as a tool, but not as sort of like a practice. Okay. However, I inculcate things by writing. So you commented at the beginning about all these notes. Part of it is just, it does help me process my thoughts and get clear. And so I think all the time, like, I'm shocked that I don't write more and regularly. Well, I just don't.
Because I'm hearing you talk, and I would read your parenting book. I would.
That's hilarious. I've actually thought about writing one as like a bucket list.
Take it off the list and do it. That, as I'm listening to you, and I'm like, okay, these are super simple, like, actually non-dogmatic things to share. So many parenting books make me just want to burn them and make me feel terrible about myself as a parent. And so it's more about how do you be in dialogue, in true care with your kids. When you think about writing a book, you have a title?
Well, no, I definitely don't have a title. What I would say is I go back and forth and think about it, that the book would be really like short because it's like, just treat them with kindness. I mean, I don't know. They're not you. Yeah. They're just trying to figure it out. But writing down things like that in a short book would be hilarious. Like the world's biggest book on parenting, and it's like 3 pages. And it's huge and it's epic because... Yeah, so I do think about it, and then I don't read parenting books, but I actually just ordered. Did I order one? It wasn't about parenting. It was but it's a funny book. So it's kind of like what you're talking about, where it's like satire, right?
Love
it's
the
being
funny.
Annoying. Oh my gosh.
The funny.
Oh my gosh.
You got to find the funny.
Yeah.
That's another survival. Music, survival. Yeah. Funny.
Yeah.
Pop culture. And you are both funny, but you also you wink at people. You're like, I see what you did there. Yeah. And you have this like little way where you just shake your head or you give in. And it's another way of feeling seen, because those of us who really like to think we're funny, it's really good to have you in a room.
That's hilarious.
And that's a line. That's a be like.
Funny.
Yeah, but that's hilarious. Like you don't always laugh. You just footnote. That's hilarious.
Right.
Yeah. But you love it. You
feel
look
it
for
in my chest. And,
that's where. So even if you're not laughing, it's in
when
your
I
body.
say it's hilarious, it's like, that's a full word.
So what's in your queue? Like, what are the things? What are you binging from your comfy couch?
Oh my gosh, I share this a lot in big community meetings with staff in our college, and that started kind of in the pandemic on big Zoom calls as just a way for me to model. Like, I'm human. Again, trying to get some reciprocity, right? In terms of like, people are going through some stuff, but we're not immune. And I think I've worried some folks about what I watch. So I will watch, you and I share Grey's Anatomy. But I resisted for a really long time. But
I resisted for so long.
Yes, but my oldest got me into it. He's pre-med and his friends, were watching. And so I love that.
When did you start? What season were they in that you started? Because I'm so late to the party.
I think they were like in 8 or 9.
I think I was like 9 or 10. And then I went back with my mom and watched the whole thing. Now I've watched the whole thing twice, I think. And now I'm where, spoiler alert, Meredith feels like she's just a narrating voice because she's super weird. Yeah. Okay, so Grey's Anatomy.
So that's always right.
Do you cry?
Oh my. Yes, yes, absolutely. So
I cry every time.
I'm not currently watching that, but it's like, so I'll do Grey's Anatomy and then I love documentaries. The kids also know, like, put on David Attenborough and I'm like just in my happy place, like that voice, it's just
that's
like,
me with British baking.
Oh, they love British baking too. So but
they do. Your boys put it on if mom is kind of stressed, the cape is singed. Yes. They put on David Attenborough.
Exactly. It's like I have cues based on what I need. So going back to the care, right? The 15-year-old, he wanted to watch. Well, this is what happened. He saw in the scroll Real Housewives of Potomac. And he was like, where's Potomac? I'm like, that is Potomac. Are you insane? And that was so funny that he was like, he wants to watch it.
So now you're watching The Real Housewives.
Yes. And what's so cool is it's an all-black cast. So it's like just really interesting.
I still can't get over, I mean, again, you have to write a parenting book. If you can get your children to choose a show to serve your ness, you are winning as a mom.
It's hilarious. Well, then my daughter's the most disturbing. She's the youngest one. And she was telling us we got to watch Squid Game. So I'm like, yep, let's do that. First episode, I'm like, I think this is a parenting fail. So anyway, but currently what I'm watching is a show that I can get on BritBox, which is called Gogglebox, and it's British people in their homes watching television and commenting on the television, and it is amazing. It is the funniest thing because their culture is just different. So they're just
You're just watching people watch British people.
100%.
And then are you filming you? This is what people want.
So
Bernadette is.
I have joked that we should film us because it is hysterical. Like, I was howling yesterday, and
Will you film it and make a YouTube channel?
No,
Because
I don't like attention. So that's a problem.
Okay, but well then how about we do an over-the-shoulder
Nice.
filming so we can hear you, but we watching what you're watching, and then we're just getting the
It's like
mystery,
Inception.
the science theater.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
it's like that.
That's like that. So that's what I'm binging right now. Also, like, I watch true crime, like documentary, like real crime documentaries.
Do you like to solve it, or do you like to be surprised?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I'm trying to solve it the whole time.
You're always trying to solve it.
And I'm always surprised.
Both.
Yeah.
I'm like this. I watch it like I have no idea that there are clues I'm supposed to be looking for.
That's hilarious.
When I used to watch the Criminal Minds,
Oh,
and the would be like, oh, so-and-so did it. I'm like, how are you, A, tracking that? B, you just ruined it. And C, I already forgot. And I'm watching just TV.
Well, and I'm watching like real, right? So these are tragedies. And so it's like, it's kind of like cold cases, or so I watch stuff like that.
You're doing like work to relax.
Well, this is the thing.
Because in your mind, you're a detective solving systems and cleaning up messes,
It is
even
true.
blood splatter.
It is true.
So you could have been that.
Well, I actually recently have thought, like,
You're going to change careers.
no. But I mean, I've been using this military language in my job. A book that I just read is called Risk by Stanley McChrystal. He came and visited as, I think, the chancellor's like leadership keynote or something a couple years ago. And after hearing him, I thought, I think I could have been a general. But I will say, my entire life with my dad, watching that, I fought him constantly. He was my biggest supporter, my favorite person. He was he was also a Black Republican. So he was conservative. And we fought about politics like crazy. I did not appreciate sort of his career choice. And what I realized in my older age is that what I couldn't get past is people telling me what to do. I knew that. I'm not good with people telling me what to do without me being able to ask why. And so I couldn't ever get over that hump. But I recently have thought, God, if I could have just gotten over that hump and trusted the process, I think I could have been that kind of like sort of leader.
But if you could be anything other than what you are doing, if you could be doing, because you're doing so many things, if you could have a different place you went to work, that could be anything, like a surf shop in Kauai. That's my current. What would it be?
It's a great question. I don't know if I can answer that question, because I think that I'm so adaptable that it's not really it's the what, it's the how.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it wouldn't matter. Surf shop in Kauai.
Yeah.
I
think I would always
running the University of Colorado.
Kind of thing wherever. Right. Yeah. Nice, Erika. You're supposed to cut that out.
Well, the thing that I love is I can't just ask you, what are you binging? And you give me a litany of random, you know the why. The process of communicating that why, all of that is as important to you as the list that I'll leave to check out to get to know you better. It's not the show, it's the how.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
it
really,
all intersects. Like
it all
everything, every dot connects to something.
Okay, it's time for the quick and dirty. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's time.
Oh no.
Try to be quick.
Okay.
I hope you're dirty.
Oh God. Oh no.
The next title of a playlist that you would make that has "and" in it.
Power and Joy.
The first two bands on said playlist or performers.
U2, Audra Day.
U2.
And Audra Day. Thank you.
The email subject header that has "and" in it that you most hate seeing in your inbox.
Oh God, I'm not good at this.
No one is. producer Tim was terrible, and he does this with me all the time, and he was still bad.
So
You get an email, and you see a subject, and you're like, nope, not reading that one.
Legal needs to talk to you, and I need to give you information to prep.
Anything with legal and anything obscure. 100%. Okay. 2 or 3 things that you need in a meeting, they can be material or not, to make it more productive and fun.
Inspiration, so the why, and jokes, banter, lightheartedness.
Yeah. And margaritas.
Oh, and margaritas.
Yeah.
No, and Jack and Coke.
And Jack and Coke. Yes, that's it. Character traits that you've seen in your life that have helped to grow your humanity. You've talked about some of those, but can you put them in a litany for me?
So integrity and authenticity and curiosity.
Yeah. Okay, you have a mister who I hear
looms large
as well, and actually and physically. Yes. What a combo platter of things that he knows he can serve up to you. Again, real, imagined, edible, emotional, that he knows will win you.
Oh, like jokes. I mean, he literally walks into a room and starts dancing, or when I'm furious at him,
he will just start.
Right. Yes.
What's the dance move? What's it like?
Oh, it's not one. It's usually some form of twerking, and it's ridiculous.
And do you hold the face?
No, I can't.
You can't
ever.
You can't.
Yeah.
You just and he knows that's just going to break it down.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are offering words of advice to a population that you love, to a population maybe where you know some of them, you don't know some of them, and you're going to send them off into their next. It starts with and. What do you offer?
And we have to have hope. We have to believe in each other. And we have to show up. I think that's it.
That was Bernadette Stewart, Assistant Dean of People, Engagement, and Culture at CU Boulder, on The Ampersand. The Ampersand is a production of the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of Colorado Boulder. It is written and produced by me, Erika Randall, and Tim Grassley. If there are people you'd like us to interview on The Ampersand, do please email us at asinfo@colorado.edu. Our theme music was composed and performed by Nelson Walker, and the episodes are recorded at Interplay Recording in Boulder, Colorado. I'm Erika Randall, and this is The Ampersand.